Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
I'd really appreciate your comment. It helps me understand if you enjoyed the story and how I can improve in future ones. I was halfway through a punch list when the house went quiet in a way I hadn't noticed before. The dishwasher clicked off, the AC drifted to a low hum, and even the traffic on our street sounded like it had been turned down. I was at the dining table in yesterday's button-down, laptop open, red pen resting on a stack of subcontractor invoices. My name is Grant Wilder, 38, project manager in Dallas. We run with schedules and margins, not feelings. 10 minutes earlier, I'd been trying to figure out why a steel delivery missed its window and how to keep a crew busy without burning a day of payroll. Then she leaned in the doorway between the kitchen and the hall like she'd been rehearsing her posture in the bathroom mirror and said the line that ended our marriage without raising her voice: "Share me or lose me." I didn't look up right away. The funny thing about shock is it doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it's just a quiet shift in the room where the light gets flatter and the edges show. I drew a small box around a number on the invoice and set the pen down. The table was sticky from where I'd wiped up a coffee spill earlier. Her perfume, something heavy and new she'd started wearing a month ago, hung over the doorway. The refrigerator motor kicked on, stubborn, like a neighbor who refuses to turn down his music. I finally looked at her. No tremor in her lip. A brand new blouse I'd never seen, draped just so, and those heels she only wore when she wasn't coming home early. Hair blown out smooth. The phone in her hand face down, the way it had been face down for weeks. There was a time I would have asked if she wanted a glass of water or a seat. Instead, I slid the invoices together and closed the laptop. The click felt like drawing a line through a sentence you don't need anymore. "I heard you," I said. She crossed one ankle over the other like she was waiting for an elevator. "Don't make this dramatic, Grant. I'm being honest about what I need." "Honest," I repeated. My heart wasn't hammering. If anything, it slowed down, as if my body had decided to move this entire conversation into a separate room and watch through the glass. For months I'd been treated to small, polite edits to our life. Thursday happy hours turned into "the girls want to grab dinner," which turned into "I might crash at Carly's if it gets late." New clothes appeared in the closet with tags still on them. Packages were rerouted to the office because porch pirates. Passwords changed on things that used to be ours. She started using words she'd never used with me: alignment, expansion, fulfillment, as if our marriage were a grant proposal. The voice changed too. Less laughter, more press conference. She watched me, trying to read whether I'd bluster or beg. "I don't expect you to get it," she said. "One person can't be everything. I need to feel alive again." "I didn't know you were dead," I said. It wasn't sarcasm. It was a man realizing he'd been living with someone who had already left. Her eyes flicked to the microwave clock. 8:07 p.m. The time mattered to her for some reason. "I'm not asking for permission," she said. "I'm offering you a choice. Keep me, but not all of me. Or don't keep me at all." There it was, the contract language dressed up as mercy. The tone told me more than the words. She hadn't come to negotiate. She was delivering policy. Somewhere, sometime, she'd decided my role was to nod and adapt. The part of me that manages men who argue about overtime wanted to find the schedule behind this announcement, the sequence of decisions that got us to this doorway. The husband part of me stared at her blouse and wondered who had seen it first. "You've been working late," I said. "A lot." "That's what success looks like," she said, glancing at her phone. "You of all people should understand ambition." I do, I thought. I understand ambition that builds, not ambition that burns the house because it wants to watch the flames. I breathed and let the silence do its own work. In project meetings, silence is where truth walks in. People fill it with what they really think. Sure enough, she shifted, the performance slipping. "I'm done explaining myself," she said. "I'm choosing what makes me happy." "Good," I said. "Everyone should." She blinked, like I'd missed a cue. "This doesn't have to be ugly. I still care about you." Care. A word that covers everything and means nothing when it's used like a drop cloth. I looked around our dining room as if I were seeing it for the first time. The water rings on the table from last summer's margaritas, the scuff on the wall where I'd bumped a ladder, the photo from our trip to Taos, where we stood in front of Adobe and pretended we knew what we were doing. Ordinary, livable history. It felt honest. I stood slow. Because I wanted my body to register this moment the way a carpenter marks the stud before he drills. So this is who you are now, I said. She lifted her chin. It's who I've always been. I'm just done pretending. The AC hummed. Somewhere outside a dog barked twice and stopped. My ring felt suddenly heavy, like a tool in the wrong hand. I'd always thought that if a speech like hers ever came, I'd explode or start a campaign to convince her back into the life we built. Instead, a clean calm settled over me. Okay, I said. She tilted her head. Okay. That's the whole sentence, I said. Okay. Her mouth tightened a fraction. The script she brought home didn't have a page for this scene. I saw the tiniest flicker of calculation, like a driver realizing the ramp they wanted is already behind them. She tried again. I'm meeting friends tonight. We can talk more later when you're not processing. I'm done processing, I said. You were clear. She waited for the explosion that wasn't coming, then pushed off the doorframe. Heels on hardwood. 3 clicks. Stop. Don't act like I'm the villain, she said. You got comfortable. You stopped seeing me. I could have listed the weekend trips I booked and she canceled, the conversations I started and she scrolled through, the home projects I finished while she posted photos from rooftop bars. I could have read back the last 6 months like minutes from a meeting. But truth doesn't require exhibits when both parties already know the outcome. I see you fine, I said. I just can't see a version of me that agrees to this. Another flicker, annoyance this time. You'll change your mind, she said, reaching for her purse. You're not built for being alone. Maybe I wasn't, I said. Maybe I am now. She smirked as if I'd told a joke without timing, checked the mirror by the entryway, and pressed a fingertip beneath her eye to smooth something only she could see. The perfume moved with her, heavy enough to taste. She left the way she'd arrived, deliberate, certain, a woman who believed she could rewrite gravity by announcing new terms. The front door closed softly, a considerate thief. I stood in the doorway to the dining room and listened to the house reset to itself. No heels, no waiting. I opened the laptop and stared at the line item I'd boxed. A number that had felt urgent a few minutes earlier now looked like a smudge. I shut the computer and slid it aside. The invoices could wait. Decisions couldn't. The table was still sticky. I got a damp cloth and wiped it clean, pressing a circle where her elbow had rested while she said the words. The spot disappeared under my hand. I rinsed the cloth, wrung it out, draped it over the sink, and turned off the kitchen light. In the dark reflection of the window, I could see a man standing alone in his own house. Not collapsed, just steady. Calm has a sound when you let it. It's not silence. It's a room without a lie in it. Share me or lose me, she'd said. I rolled the phrase across my tongue like a nail I decided not to bite. Losing and letting go are not the same motion. One drags, one releases. I didn't know something she didn't. My answer had started long before my mouth said okay. It began the moment I realized I wasn't stunned anymore. I was done. She came home after midnight like a storm that never bothers to rain, just rearranges the sky. I was on the couch with the TV off, a glass of water sweating on a coaster. No music, no lights except the lamp by the stairs. If she wanted a stage, she wasn't getting one. She set her purse down and looked at me as if the conversation from earlier had been paused, not concluded. Don't make this dramatic, she said. I'm being honest about what I need. You already were, I said. She kicked off her heels, then thought better of it, and put them back on, like height might help her case. One person can't be everything. Monogamy is a marketing story. I've been reading. There's ethical non-monogamy. There's compersion. She tried the word like a new shoe. It means you can be happy for my happiness. While you sleep with someone else, I said. Calm. Neutral. A man confirming scope. Her jaw flexed. While I expand. It's not someone else. It's a different part of me. You still have the rest. The rest, I repeated. So what part do I hand over exactly? Tuesday nights? Holidays? The pieces you're bored with? She blew out a breath. I knew you'd default to sarcasm. You always do when you're scared. I took a sip of water. Or when I'm being sold a bad product with good packaging. She folded her arms. I'm not asking for permission. I'm giving you options. We can set rules. Boundaries. I won't bring him here. You don't ask questions. We stay primary. The words sounded rented. Who wrote that for you? I asked. She hesitated a fraction, then lifted her chin. He understands this. He says love isn't scarcity. He's older. Successful. He mentors founders, sits on boards. He has a place over the park with a view of the city. You'd like him. That's not the sales pitch you think it is, I said. Her mouth tugged. This is bigger than your pride, Grant. He can open doors. Rooms you don't even know exist. Rooms where my wife is a guest pass, I said. Does he know you're married? He knows I'm not limited, she snapped. He respects that. Names are easier than euphemisms, I said. What's his? She smiled with half her face. You don't need it. So he's real, I said. And scheduled. That landed. She looked toward the window like the night might offer her a cue. You got comfortable, she said, softer, trying a different angle. We stopped being exciting. I stopped feeling seen. I see you now, I said. That's the problem. She paced 2 steps, back, 2 more. I still want you, she said. I want home. I want safety. I want to feel alive, and not like someone's wife folding into a routine that will kill me by inches. Then go feel alive, I said. But not as my wife. Her eyes sharpened. So you'd rather lose me than grow? Not the choice on the table, I said. You brought me a coin with 2 tails and asked me to pick heads. She laughed once, brittle. Do you hear yourself? You sound like a frustrated math teacher. Project manager, I said. Close enough. She sat at the edge of the chair opposite me, hands gripping the frame, knuckles pale. Listen, he's not some random. He's curated. He doesn't need me. That's what makes it intoxicating. He chooses me. Because I'm exceptional. I want you to choose me with him there and prove you're not threatened. You found a wealthy man who doesn't need you, I said. That doesn't make you exceptional. That makes you temporary. The color rose in her face. You don't know him. I don't need to, I said. I know what it means to be optional in someone else's life. I won't be optional in mine. She stared, breathing through her nose, trying to wear me down with silence. I gave it back to her. That's the thing about quiet. Only one of us needed noise to feel certain. Finally, she spoke. We can design this. It doesn't have to be messy. I'll keep it discreet. No sleepovers on weeknights. No overlap. Calendar invites, I said. Nice. Does he sign them best regards or can't wait? She rolled her eyes. Why are you trying to humiliate me? I'm not, I said. I'm telling you what I won't participate in. She leaned forward. You'll change your mind. When you realize you can have me and not lose me. You just explained how I lose you, I said. You want me as a base camp while you summit elsewhere. It's growth, she said. He says monogamy is fear dressed up as virtue. Then go be brave, I said. See what that buys. She stood abruptly, chair legs scraping. You think he's buying me? I think he's renting your attention, I said. Month to month. Nice view. Flexible lease. Her laugh was sharp. You're bitter. I'm awake, I said. She checked her phone, thumb hovering, then shoved it into her purse like it had misbehaved. I'm meeting him tomorrow. To talk. To talk, I repeated. At his place with the view. It's a conversation, she said, scolding now. Don't be crude. I'm being accurate, I said. She walked to the island, poured water, took a long swallow like she needed to rinse me out. We can still go to your cousin's wedding next month. We can keep things normal. Define normal, I said. Us, she said quickly. This house. Dinners. Holidays. My parents. With privacy around the rest. You're describing a PR plan, I said. Launch the new you without spooking legacy stakeholders. Her mouth softened, almost sympathetic. You've always been good with metaphors when you're hiding. I stood, not to loom but to mark the end of the pitch. Here's my metaphor. You're free to walk through any door you want, but every door closes behind you. I won't be trapped by your rules, she said. You won't be trapped by mine, I said. You built these. She watched me the way a gambler watches the dealer's hands. So? She asked. What do you choose? I let the seconds stretch until I could hear the AC cycle off. I don't share, I said. If you step into that other life, do it with both feet. Don't plant one here. That's not an answer, she said. It's the only one I have. Her jaw tilted stubbornly. You're making a mistake. Maybe, I said, but it will be my mistake. She grabbed her purse, then paused. The part of her that loved control, trying one last shape. You'll regret not being flexible. Men who cling to old rules end up alone. Men who bend past their limits end up unrecognizable, I said. She shook her head like I was a student refusing extra credit, then turned toward the hall. At the threshold, she stopped. For what it's worth, she said carefully. He likes men who can stand next to him. He said you seemed decent. You met him once. At that fundraiser. The one with the glass elevator. I remembered the night. A hand like chilled marble, a grin that measured the room, eyes sliding past me to the donors he actually needed. I remembered the way she glowed in the reflection of his compliments, as if the light were hers by inheritance. I'm glad he found me decent, I said. I'll return the favor and say the view was fine. She didn't smile. If you loved me, you'd learn to be bigger than this. I am, I said. I'm big enough to stand alone. She left the room, but not the house, drifting down the hall, opening and closing drawers as if location could fix certainty. I rinsed my glass and set it upside down to dry. When she came back, she had changed her earrings. Small armor. I'm going to Carly's, she said, testing my face for a flinch. Okay, I said. That's all you've got, she pressed. That's the whole sentence. She opened the front door and stood with it half closed, like she might step back in if I offered a different script. The night took her. I stayed where I was, listening to the house breathe. I thought about budgets, about lines that keep a project from collapsing. Load, span, tolerance. Every structure has a maximum it can bear. The trick isn't to pray it holds. It's to know when it won't. In that quiet, I understood what she didn't. The choice she handed me wasn't complicated. It was arithmetic, and I've never been afraid of numbers. After a week of her pressure games and that line about share me or lose me, I stopped negotiating with fog. I made coffee, opened my laptop, and moved with the quiet certainty of a man who'd already decided. I removed an authorized user from 2 cards, paused the auto pay on her car insurance I'd been covering, and switched passwords on the streaming bundles she used more than I did. When you tell me I'm optional, I stopped subsidizing the fantasy. She came down the stairs in a silk robe, phone in hand, the expression she reserves for hotel lobbies and VIP check-ins. What did you do to the card? Align the accounts with reality. That's controlling. You asked me to share you. I said, steady. I'm sharing the bill with the person you're spending your nights with. Her eyes flinched toward the brass fob in the catch-all bowl by the door, the one with the Harbor Tower logo stamped into it. She'd been careless Sunday night and dropped it there while she FaceTimed in the pantry. I didn't have to ask who it belonged to. I already knew the type. Curated stubble, curated wine, curated women. You think you've figured something out, she said, crossing her arms. This is about freedom. Adults can have arrangements. Adults can also have clarity. I walked past her to the bedroom and pulled her weekender from the top shelf. Zippers make sound. Hangers scrape. Doors thud. I laid the bag on the bed and started with the obvious. Clothes she keeps at the ready for overnight, work dinners. The perfume that lives in the glove box. The second charger. She hovered in the doorway, hands shaking a little behind the robe's belt. What are you doing? A high, brittle edge. Removing ambiguity. This is insane. What's insane is asking for an open marriage with a straight face and expecting me to nod along so you can stay comfortable. It's not open, she snapped. It's exploratory. And temporary. Then explore. Temporarily. I folded the black dress she swore was just a gift from the wellness brand and placed it on top. But not from my house. She moved closer, lowering her voice like we were in a hotel hallway. You're overreacting. This is a conversation, not a... Her hand cut the air, searching for an ending. You don't own me. I never did, I said. I'm not trying to keep what doesn't want to stay. That hit differently than anything I'd said all week. She reached for the bag like that would stop the moment. You can't just pack my life. I'm not. I'm packing for a weekend. Yours. Somewhere you already have a key. I nodded at the fob by the door. The rest is yours to decide with a lawyer. She blinked. A lawyer? I met with one yesterday. No need to add that the retainer cleared this morning. He used words like boundaries and disclosure. They made sense. Oh, so now you're going to humiliate me. Nothing public, I said. Nothing loud. Just honest lines. You said share or lose you. I don't share. So I'm not going to lose myself. I zipped the bag. It sounded like the end of a sentence. She grabbed my wrist. Lightly, but enough that I felt the tremor. You're throwing us away over a thought experiment. You've been doing the field research, I said. I'm just catching up to the conclusion. Her chin lifted in that practiced way she uses when she wants the last word. You can't make me go. I can't make you do anything, I said. But I can return your choices to the place you're making them. I walked out to the hallway, picked up the fob, and held it out. You left this. She didn't take it. That's for the gym in my building. She lied too fast. Harbor Tower has a pool, not a gym. And he's never in it. I set the fob on the console and pulled my phone from my pocket. Car will be here in 12 minutes. Her mouth fell open. You order me a car? You wanted space. I'm giving you the shortest route to it. God, you're so dramatic. Drama is telling your husband that his options are watching you play pretend monogamy or accepting a community plan. I pointed to the bag. This is logistics. She stared at the weekender like it might start speaking. He's not what you think. I think he's a wealthy man who prefers novelty. I also think you're more than someone's Thursday reservation. Those beliefs can both be true. She went for the soft spot. So that's it. You're done? After everything we built? No, I said, and I felt something loosen in my chest I hadn't realized I'd been holding. I'm not done. I'm just done participating in my own erosion. She folded her arms tighter. What if I don't get in that car? Then you sleep in the guest room, and we proceed like adults. Separate finances. Separate plans. Separate counsel. I didn't raise my voice. Either way, the pretending stops today. She looked past me, out the window toward the street we've walked 100 times. You're supposed to fight for me. I'm supposed to respect myself. Sometimes those are the same thing. Today they're not. Silence pressed between us, but it wasn't the old, choking kind. This one was clean. She drifted to the console, touched the fob, then pulled her hand back like it burned. He said he respects strong women, she murmured, as if repeating something from a glossy brochure. I believe him, I said. He also respects limited attachments. The ride notification buzzed. I slid my wallet into my back pocket and picked up the bag. No rushing. I set it by the door, then took the fob and placed it gently in her palm. If you need help carrying anything else, ask the concierge. He knows your name. Her eyes flashed. You're cruel. I'm clear. She stood there, breathing shallow, the robe falling open a little at the throat. You're going to regret this. Maybe, but not as much as I'd regret letting you turn me into a roommate with a ringside seat. The horn sounded once, polite. I opened the door. Streetlight washed across the entryway. I didn't try to touch her. I just handed her the handle of the weekender, then closed her fingers over the fob. Congrats, I said, even, not unkind. You're his problem now. She blinked hard, like the words nudged something unsteady inside. Then she took the bag, lifted her chin, and walked out. The lock clicked behind her. I stood there for a long breath, feeling the house redraw itself around honest edges. Then I turned off the foyer light, went to the kitchen, and wrote down 3 lists. The accounts to separate, the belongings to inventory, and the places in my life where my spine had been too flexible. I crossed out the last category before I finished the coffee. It didn't apply anymore. The house didn't echo after she left. I finished my coffee, folded the lists I'd made, and started treating my life like a job site again. Scope, sequence, safety. I emailed my attorney to confirm the retainer and asked for a draft separation agreement with clear financial boundaries. I took photos of valuables for inventory, moved my grandfather's watch to the safe, and put a small notepad by the front door to log any pickups. By noon, the first message landed. Hope you're breathing. That was intense. We should talk tonight. I didn't reply. The second tried a different register. Don't be childish. You can't undo love because you're afraid of change. I set the phone face down and kept working through accounts, removing her as an authorized user where I could and documenting the rest for counsel. Silence did the heavy lifting. Day 2. She upped the volume. Missed call. Missed call. Then a text with a laughing selfie from a restaurant I recognized. White plates, curated lighting, his kind of place. See? I'm fine. You'll get there. I typed please direct communication through counsel and deleted it unsent. My attorney had said I didn't owe a performance, only consistency. I decided to practice both. The third night she knocked. Not a frantic pounding, 3 tidy taps, like a neighbor would. I opened the door with the chain on. She had the look of someone insisting she wasn't cold while hugging her coat tighter. This is ridiculous, she said. Let me in so we can talk like adults. We've been talking like adults, I said. You presented terms. I declined. Her eyes went to the lock, then back to me. He doesn't want drama, she said softly, like it was a concession. Can we keep this discreet? We are, I said. There are 2 people in this hallway. Both of them already know. She exhaled hard. You're enjoying this. No, I said. I'm respecting it. She glanced past me and saw the moving boxes stacked by the wall with labels in black marker. Office. Seasonal. Photos. You're fast. I manage timelines. She tried warmth. I miss us. You're my home, Grant. This doesn't have to be a war. It isn't. I slid the chain, stepped onto the porch, and pulled the door shut behind me. If you need something specific, ask. Her mouth tightened. I need my gray coat. And the pasta maker. And the framed print from Taos. I'll leave a box on the porch tomorrow between 9 and noon, I said. Text if you're running late. She stared at me like I'd spoken another language. You think this is strength? It's petty logistics. It's boundaries, I said. They look small until you cross one. That night the messages changed shape. You abandoned me. Then, he says you're threatened. Then, softer, we're adults. We can design this. I let them stack. People started testing the edges. Her mother called, her voice crisp with borrowed outrage. She says you threw her out. I ordered her a car and packed a weekender, I said. She asked for space. I gave it to her. She's confused. She's decisive, I said. And so am I. Later, her friend Carly texted from a number I didn't recognize at first. I didn't know she was seeing him. I'm sorry you had to find out like this. I typed thanks and left it at that. On Saturday, I changed the locks. Because clarity shouldn't depend on a doorknob. I left 2 labeled boxes on the porch, gray coat on top, the pasta maker wrapped in dish towels the way my dad taught me to pack anything that matters. She arrived at 11:40, sunglasses on, a tote looped over her shoulder. She looked smaller than the coat. Can we not do the porch theater? She asked. It's not theater, I said. It's pickup. She brushed her fingers along the tape. He doesn't like clutter, she said distantly, as if talking to herself. He says too many possessions mean you're stuck. Light travel, I said. Makes for easy exits. Her jaw flicked. You think you're clever. I think you're telling me more than you mean to. That afternoon, a buddy from my running group texted a photo from the lake. Boats tied at a private dock, the kind of dock that advertises itself without shouting. In the corner of the frame, the man I'd shaken hands with at the fundraiser, laughing with someone who wasn't my wife. Younger. The caption didn't say anything. Sunday, she called 3 times before noon, then sent a paragraph that read like a closing argument. I'm not leaving you. I'm expanding. He supports that. You should, too. I expected more intelligence from you. I put the phone on Do Not Disturb and mowed the lawn. Lines straight, turns neat, the kind of work that awards you with nothing more than a clean pattern and a quiet mind. Monday brought the apology that isn't. I'm sorry you're hurt, but you misinterpreted everything. I need intimacy, and you shut down years ago. I almost laughed. I remembered the late-night attempts that died against the blue glow of her phone, the weekends I planned that got rescheduled because a launch needed her presence on a patio. There's a particular kind of revisionism that hopes the other person is too tired to fact-check. I wasn't tired anymore. Midweek, a mutual friend from the industry, Mara, called. Not gossip. She's never been that kind. You okay? She asked. I'm fine. She paused. He goes through people. Thought you should know. They don't get introduced. They get rotated. Thanks, I said. I meant it, but I didn't need the data point to calibrate myself. My compass had already been set. The next box she requested included her stand mixer and an envelope of old birthday cards. She lingered by the hibiscus she'd bought at a nursery last spring and hadn't watered since. I can't eat, she said to the air. I can't sleep. I hope that changes, I said. You don't even care. I care about what I control. That list got shorter. She looked at me as if I'd flicked a switch. You used to make everything easy. That was the problem. On Friday, she knocked again, later than before, eyes bright in a way that didn't come from sleep. He's complicated, she said, the words tumbling fast. He's busy. He has responsibilities you wouldn't understand. I don't need to, I said. You told me your plan. I stepped out of it. She reached toward me and stopped, hand hovering like a truce flag. I thought you'd fight. I did, just not with him. The week closed without a blow-up, which disappointed exactly no one and surprised everyone who grew up thinking endings require fireworks. The consequence wasn't spectacle. It was gravity. She had thrown something into the air and expected it to orbit around her. It fell. Not on me. On the ground. By Sunday night, the messages slowed, then shifted into a different cadence. We made dinner. He knows a chef. Then a gap. He's traveling for a few days. Investor thing. Another gap. We're reevaluating expectations. That last phrase read like an email subject line. I turned off my phone and slept better than I had in months. People talk. They always will. Someone said they'd seen his car in the drive at the lake house with a different passenger in the front seat, bare feet on the dash, a kind of carelessness that comes with newness and a guarantee it won't be billed. I didn't chase the story. It had already arrived before the details did. She'd picked a life that applauds you on the way in and forgets your name while the door swings. Through all of it, I didn't post, hint, or gather allies. I did the work right in front of me. Revised the separation draft, scheduled a meeting with the bank, moved a chair from the corner to where afternoon light hit it best. If there's a lesson, it's small and blunt. Respect is heavy. You either carry it yourself, or you become something other people pick up when it suits them. The quiet held. Not the brittle, waiting for impact kind. This was the kind that lets you hear the house breathe. I kept my routines simple. Coffee, run, work, a chair moved to a better angle of afternoon light. The separation draft came back from my attorney with clean lines and blank spaces for signatures. I read it twice, then once more aloud. There's a steadiness to paperwork when your gut already signed. Friends tested the water the way people do when they care but don't want to pry. Nate from my Saturday run sent a photo he didn't caption. The glass elevator at the downtown hotel, a reflection of two people stepping in. Not her. Younger. Red dress. I didn't reply. 2 hours later, Mara called. Quick thing, she said. I saw him at the airport. Private lounge. New companion. He was handsy. She was entertained. And your wife wasn't anywhere near the boarding gate. Okay, I said. Grant, she added, careful. I'm not telling you to hurt you. I just don't want you thinking you're leaving something stable. He rotates. It's what he does. I know, I said. Thanks for saying it out loud. By midweek, confirmation came from a different angle. My buddy Josh texted from the lake. Same boat. New passenger. No room left at the bow. I looked at the words the way I look at a schedule that finally admits the delay it's been hiding. Not shock. Just the relief of accurate data. That night she called, and for the first time in weeks I let it ring through to voicemail and listened. Her voice was thinner. It carried a wobble I hadn't heard since we were 28, and our lease application almost fell through. I made a mistake, she said. I don't know what I thought. Can we talk? Just talk. I missed the sound of your feet on the stairs. The way you leave your mug by the sink. I missed us. I stopped the message at that. I didn't need the rest any more than I needed the play-by-play of his vacation. I set the phone face down and finished rinsing the pan. The house didn't shift. My answer had already been living in it for days. The next morning, I signed the separation agreement. The pen didn't feel heavy. I scanned and sent it to my attorney, copied hers, and then went for a long run along the trail that cuts the city east to west. The sun came up hard and clean, no clouds to blame. At a stoplight, my phone buzzed. Please don't do this, her text read. We can fix this if you're willing to be mature. I typed, please direct communication through counsel. I looked at the sentence for a long second, deleted it, and put the phone away. We'd done enough talking. Maturity would be measured in what we didn't say. 2 days later, she appeared on the porch without warning, late afternoon, the light behind her making a halo that didn't match the face beneath it. I met her outside and pulled the door until it rested against my leg. He's complicated, she said, skipping greeting for momentum. He's under pressure. He said we need to pause while he's traveling. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think, I said. Her mouth trembled, then hardened. I picked wrong. I see that now. But you and I, we can put the pieces back if you'd stop punishing me. I'm not punishing you, I said. I'm protecting me. She took a step closer. I was wrong. I believed her. I also knew the truth that lived underneath apology. Being wrong isn't the same as being safe to try again. I hope you rebuild, I said. Just not here. That's it? She asked, stunned and furious in the same breath. After all those years? We had good years, I said. Then you asked me to be smaller to fit your new story. I said no. The math hasn't changed. She looked past me as if the furniture might intercede. You'll be alone, she said finally, not as a curse, more like a forecast. I'll be myself, I said. She laughed once and covered her mouth, like the sound surprised her. He bought tickets to the islands, she said, the words spilling. Not for me. For someone else. He sent a text, just a text, telling me he needed to reduce attachments. Can you imagine? Yes, I said. And I could, because I'd watched the way he scanned rooms. People like that reduce everything to capacity and novelty. I'm sorry he hurt you. You sound like a therapist, she snapped. I sound like a man who isn't going to use your pain to win. She stared at me for a long time. Say you still love me, she whispered. Just say it once. I didn't. Love is a thing I don't say to console or corner. It's a door you either walk through together or lock quietly. I let the quiet hold. When she realized there wouldn't be a script rewrite, she straightened. We'll see each other again, she said. Maybe in grocery aisles, I said. Maybe at weddings. We'll be polite. And we'll remember, she added. Different parts, I said. She left without another word. I watched her walk to her car, shoulders squared against a wind that wasn't blowing. The street swallowed the tail lights. The porch light clicked on a minute later, the sensor doing what it was built to do. Life didn't become a montage after that, because life doesn't. It became small, solid actions you could stack. I moved the framed house print to the hallway where the morning light cut across it at 10. I fixed the sticky drawer in the kitchen. I called my father and told him I was all right. He said, I figured, the way men from his generation say I love you without widening the target. I took the ring off and put it in a velvet box in the safe, not a trash can, because some things don't deserve spectacle. I said yes to a project I'd been avoiding because it would require late nights. I ran longer and slower, the way you do when you're rebuilding from the ankles up. Sleep came like a contractor you trust. On time, no excuses. Word traveled the way it always does in a city that pretends to be bigger than it is. Someone said she was staying with Carly. Someone else said she'd moved into a short-term rental with too much glass and not enough table. The lake house photos kept coming to other people's phones with other women next to a man who never actually turned toward the camera. None of it required a reaction from me. My life no longer depended on his preferences or her hopes. Weeks later, the last box left the porch. She sent a single line, "Got it." I didn't reply. My attorney emailed that the paperwork was filed. We were on a clock now, and clocks are honest. That night I sat in the chair I'd moved and watched the light crawl across the opposite wall. I said one thing out loud, not for effect, just to hear it in the room that used to hold our arguments. Respect is not negotiable. The words didn't echo. They found their place and stayed there. People think the moral is that she lost and I won. It isn't. The moral is smaller and harder. When someone tells you what they are, you don't build a home out of the parts they've already listed for rent. You let them go where they're already walking. You lock the door because locks are for keeping the inside shaped, not the outside out. She once told me, share me or lose me. She thought the threat would break me. It didn't. I released. And when a friend later asked if I ever felt tempted to answer her late-night calls and start over, I told him the truth that has kept my spine straight since the night she made her announcement in our doorway. Starting over is easy. Staying yourself is the work.
Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.